Hello and welcome back to the Loyal Sun Show. That's at the Loyal Suns on all of the social medias. Follow us here and follow us there for all of the Pitt sports content you do not want to miss. If you love game weeks and suddenly hate your friends and spouses that went to Duquesne for some reason, this is the place for you. Loyal Sun Show, a safe, sunshiny place for your Pitt Athletics fix. Squid and Dylan, do you know what week it is?
I believe so. It's the week after week 0.
Otherwise known as
a week that Pitt plays football.
Technically true. I was looking for week 1, but any way you slice it, we have Pitt football back, and we are locked and loaded, ready to go. Where's the excitement level right now, fellas?
All you need to do to start up the excitement level, go ahead, pick up your smartphone, check out that weather app. Check the weather app that you have hopefully on your home screen there. We've got football weather in the forecast. There have been some season openers in the past that have been brutally hot. Just being completely fair there. Always happy to be back in the stadium, but we've got a high of 72, a low of 50 right now on Saturday, which I can't even really think of two numbers better to be seeing for the first football game of the year, the first tailgate. I'm juiced, and at this point, when the countdown becomes single digits, you can do it on countdown on one hand. Some nerves set in, the good nerves.
You're nervous for Duquesne?
Am I a Pitt fan?
That is the only correct answer. But no, this is the most perfect weather imaginable. I mean, this is shorts and a t-shirt with a light jacket wrapped around the waist weather. This is open the tailgate at 8 a.m. with an Irish coffee and gradually maneuver to a cold, refreshing beer as the sun rises into the sky. This is perfect. This is a chill autumn crisp. I'm ready to roll. Let's do it.
Yeah, just grab the pigskin, run a quick 10-yard in route, catch the pass to warm up a little bit. Like, that's what you need. Get the blood flowing.
Oh, the blood is flowing, let me tell you, Squidward.
Mm-hmm.
So we were treated to a little bit of football this weekend. Let me ask in general, where do you guys fall on week 0?
I appreciate it. I like getting a little teaser. Like last week, I was kind of this past week 0. I was kind of hoping for another watchable game after the Iowa State Kansas State game. I shouldn't say watchable. I mean, it's football. We've been starved for it for a long time. But you start out with two teams with those little numbers next to their names, and then you proceed into Idaho State, UNLV, Fresno State, and Kansas, Sam Houston State, Western Kentucky, Stanford, Hawaii. I would like one more, just Power 5 on Power 5 game. But also, that's part of the beauty, I think, of week 0. Just kind of like a teaser. You don't get the whole thing because then it just becomes week 1.
So you weren't pumped to watch Jaden Bradley and Day Reynolds ball out for UNLV? Was that just me? But no, I think the best part of week 0 is the first game was a good one. You're excited for it. And also because of week 0, there's some, I don't want to say sloppy, but it's just like, oh yeah, that's like a weird college football game happening. So no matter what the teams are, you get some of that. Like the double pass, screen passes, the safeties on the first play, like fumble after fumble and muffing the first punt of the day. It's like, yes, this is stupid, but it's week 0, so I will allow it and laugh at it.
That first quarter of the Kansas State Iowa State game, Farmageddon in Ireland, was absolute slop.
Yeah.
And I was a pig. Yeah. No, I'm 100% with you guys. My only thing, and why I think, Dylan, we don't get like a second decent game and why we rarely get a decent first game, is because imagine the storm you would bitch up if your team was a legitimate playoff contender and you had to play an in-conference ranked rivalry game with massive playoff implications, week 0, which means you're in camp a week early. Also, the game's in Ireland on a rugby turf that does not seem like it was up to the task for a pretty common amount of rain in Dublin.
I mean, Pitt played Virginia, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, however many years ago that was. And we just talked about how dumb it was. You have a conference game week 1, and that was a home game. So I can only imagine how annoying we would be. And even the coaches. The coaches are definitely like, seriously, we're the ones picked for this. But 2027, it will be us.
Yeah. Yeah, it will. How pumped are you guys for our inevitable trip over to the Emerald Isle?
That's really all I could think of when anytime, they showed shots of the fans in the stadium, and I was actually sipping on a cold Guinness while I was watching that game, just kind of in preparation. It just felt right. So yeah, that trip is going to be an all-timer. And part of me just thinks like, wow, I could go to Ireland whenever and just make a trip out of it. Or I can go to Ireland and potentially have it all ruined by Pitt losing a stupid football game. So this is the only way I would like to have it done, though. Yeah, this is what's going to get me to Ireland.
Yeah, I have a lot of feelings about this. I think I just feel so bad for any of these teams that do have to go to Ireland and play a game anywhere across the pond, and have to play 3 hours of football off of however much sleep you get during such a massive time shift. Pumped for us, though. Now, I want to preface this by saying I have no respect for the Big Ten. No. I have a lot of respect for the people of Wisconsin and the way they can make beer disappear. And I'm very excited, basically, without complimenting that program. I'm really excited about that pairing because I know that they will be a lot of fun in a place like that.
Agreed. They won't be like annoying either. Like some other fan bases would be. It's like, great. There's fans of this team that I won't mention here. This is not who I want to be around. But there'd be a lot of good friendly banter with Wisconsin fans, I bet.
Between Wisconsinites and the Irish, we will be around the two friendliest groups of people ever born to this earth. We are going to be the dickheads in this equation.
Probably.
We have a lot of time and a game played in the U.S. against Wisconsin for us to stir up some real hatred and like dislike of a fan base. I mean, just look at the home and home with Tennessee a few years back. I think by the end of that, I mean, even though we all had a blast in Knoxville, I think by the end of that, I think of the UCF series. We've figured out a way to strongly dislike and become semi-rivals with schools that we're going to play twice. So I just wouldn't speak too soon on that. We're gonna hate the Badgers come 2027.
And I'm ready to do that, but I'm ready to do it in Ireland. I'm going to have we're 2 years away, but I'm going to start building a list. I've had the opportunity to go to Dublin a handful of times. I'm going to build some lists, some recommendations to share with you guys that start and end with "Don't go to Temple Bar; it's a tourist trap." But this is a marriage of two things that tickle a very particular fancy of me, and I'm ready for it to be 2027 already. I already got my whole family, even the ones that do not give a shit about Pitt, bought in on making the trip over. Yes, Dylan, you are correct. We do have games in the U.S. that we should worry about at some point. So is that our transition into talking about generally the 2025 Pitt football Panthers and their upcoming season?
Yeah, I think think that's what this episode's for, right? This is the 2025 season preview. Can't believe it's
what the
here.
title says. Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, I think the best way to go about this, I mean, we're going to talk to Chris Peak in a little bit here. The people's favorite, the people's choice, Chris Peak. But right now, I think we need to throw out some predictions. I think we need to go on record and start to let the people know what we think this season's going to look like, and then give people an opportunity to clip these, screen record these, whatever they want to do, and tell us how stupid we are 3 months from now.
Smart.
Yeah,
I think this is the year we nail it.
Have we ever nailed it?
I force myself to forget my predictions the moment they leave my mouth, so I can't feel bad about myself.
I have to think we were all pretty much in like the 6-7 win train last year. I just don't think anyone predicted that we would start 7-0.
We got the answer correct, but don't ask us to show you our work, because the numbers didn't add up right.
All right. Well, we're
so
now
actually we were correct last year. It doesn't matter how you get there, we got there. So
I might have said 10 wins.
Oh, we're gonna get to 10 wins. And in fact, I like that we're doing this before we have Chris on, because as is tradition, we're gonna try to talk Chris into 10 wins. And we might get moved ourselves, but this is like as true a prediction as we're going to make before someone who actually knows what the hell they're talking about can kind of sink his talons into our heads.
Last year, if I remember correctly, was the first year the roles were reversed, because the first couple of years we had Chris on, we're like, hey, 10 wins. And he was like, I don't know. Then last year, we were so down after watching. We just watched. He was the one bringing us up. So this year, who knows? I think we're a little optimistic. I don't know where Chris is at just yet, but I think we can get there.
He actually gave his prediction on his on the morning pit this morning. So shame on you guys for not listening yet. And if you're listening to this now, go back yesterday and take a gander. I'm actually going to withhold Chris's prediction until we give ours. Again, this is an untainted scientific process. So, Squid, why don't you kick us off? Give me a season prediction, how you arrived there, and give me one bold prediction. So record and a bold prediction.
Yeah, so the schedule has given me a hard time. I'm going to start there. There's some years you're like, damn, this is tough. Other years looks a little bit easier. So you think there's a lot more guaranteed wins on here. This year, there's some volatility. I mean, first things first, we got a tough stretch of Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Miami at the end of the year. So I would love to finish a year strong as opposed to what we saw last year. Won't be easy. NC State seems formidable. They seem to beat us in like every sport every year. Louisville, a lot of toss-up / we might be underdogs here, but could go either way. So I am bullish on winning the backyard brawl. I think Rich Rod, not his year. He can't turn this ship around quick enough. So the non-conference, I love. We got Stanford, who we saw play in week 0. If we lose to them, we've got fucking problems. So
it was the worst team on the planet.
Yeah, out of all the week 0 teams, they look the worst, and that's including like Idaho State. So I'm going to say 9. 9 is my win total. We're going to win some games we probably shouldn't. Maybe that Miami game. Miami, last week of the year, seen some weird things happen. But then we might drop a game we should win in the middle. So a typical Pitt season, basically.
A typical Pitt season where they go 9-3.
Not that part.
Do they steal number 10 in the holiday season?
It depends if we start a walk-on or not. I'm going to hold judgment until then. But yeah, I'm optimistic. If we face a MAC school, Narduzzi will have the wherewithal to start a quarterback who is being paid to play football.
Bold. Is that your bold prediction that Narduzzi would have the wherewithal to do that?
That's far too bold. My actual bold prediction, I'm saying Poppy Williams, leading receiver, which you think, might not be that bold. I think he eclipses 1,000 yards and has over 70 receptions. I think he's going to get the Mo French treatment. Like, he's going to be the quick pass guy. He's going to be open underneath. Kenny Johnson will be the deep ball guy. So under the day, they might have the same amount of yards. We're not going to have 2,000 yard receivers. It's a little bullish, but he'll be up there, but not the volume. Our old pal, former guest Cam Sadler, said that he saw practice one day, and he seemed to think that Poppy was getting used a lot. So I think Cade Bell's going to feed his guy a lot.
Death, taxes, Poppy always going to be open. He reminds us that every time he scores.
Heard that.
It's true. I have that tattooed on my lower back.
All right. Well, Squid starting off strong with 9 wins. My wife actually just texted me like 5 minutes ago that she just bought 2 Pitt shirts. So that tells you the excitement level right now. And David, I see your look there.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is your wife not a graduate of the Duquesne University?
She is. And, we've been discussing this over the summer, and she's been adamant that she's wearing Duke's gear to this tailgate. And I don't know, she might just be that pumped up about Pitt that she betrays her beloved Duke. So we'll see how that plays out, but that just kind of gives you an idea of the excitement levels in this household right now. Okay. Squid, you're a little more bullish than I am. I kind of felt the same. I feel the same way about the schedule. There's some games on here like Florida State stunk last year, but we also have to go to Tallahassee. So that feels like a game where it's like, even if that's, and Florida State won't be, I don't think they can be as bad as they were last year. Although Tommy Castellanos is making me think that he could be worse than the pile was last year. DJ,
that pickup does not portray confidence in the program.
Yeah, it just feels.
Well, he thinks they're going to beat Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's a moron.
He might actually be signing his own. He's like, he must have a death wish if he's just chirping Alabama right now. A couple other games, Squid, like you said, like NC State. That just feels like NC State beats us and everything. We will just lose that one inexplicably. And then the stretch at the end of the season. West Virginia, even though they brought in all new guys, I mean, we thought they stunk 2 years ago, and then we stunk worse. So, like, the brawl is always going to be a toss-up. So I don't really see, like, other than Duquesne, Central Michigan, Syracuse will be down maybe, and Stanford. Like, those are the 4 games that I can say, like, looking at the schedule, like, oh, we need to win those games, like, no question, and then pick up 2 or 3 elsewhere to get to where, that 6-7 win spot. So it's gonna take a lot of scoring and running up the score on Duquesne on Saturday before I'm willing to predict 9 or 10 wins. I've been thinking about where I wanted to fall with this prediction for a while. I think I'm going to go 8-4. I think they are almost certainly going to, in typical Pitt fashion, drop a game they shouldn't. I am so confident that they will beat one of Notre Dame or Miami. It just feels right. And it feels like going into the Notre Dame game, like we just dropped 2 straight to NC State and Stanford, and then we just inexplicably beat Notre Dame and like ruin their playoff hopes, something stupid like that. But yeah, I just keep coming back to 8-4. I think this team can be better than last year's team. Should be better than last year's team that went 7-5 in the regular season. Obviously, the roller coaster of what was last season, or maybe not even roller coaster, just absolute pitfall. Jumping out of an airplane with no parachute. That was the 2024 season. I think this team should be better. I think that should be worth an extra win on the schedule. A lot of it's going to come down to, I think, keeping Eli Holstein healthy and getting him back to form. And that O-line kind of stepping up and improving from where they were last year. But 8-4 is where I'm falling with a chance to get the 9 in whatever beautiful destination we get to go play over holiday break. And for
Detroit.
Back to Detroit.
Back to Detroit.
A chance for 9 wins in Detroit or Birmingham, Alabama, or Annapolis, Maryland.
Shreveport, Louisiana, maybe?
No? Okay. We're getting somewhere. And my bold prediction, so this bold prediction probably does not bode well for the final result of the season if it does come true. But my bold prediction is that Mason Heinschel starts a game for the Pitt Panthers this season. Look, last year we saw Nate Yarnell a few times due to Eli's injury issues. Cole Gonzalez, I know he's the number 2 right now behind Eli Holstein, but it's hard for me to ignore how many people have decided to mention a true freshman quarterback throughout camp. Squid, like you said, our pal, old guest Cam Sadler also said, a lot of people are talking up this freshman QB. A lot of people are talking about his arm talent, how physically gifted he is, and kind of just looks the part. And it's a true freshman quarterback. It's hard to, kind of propel yourself into starting competition with a returning starter. But enough people have mentioned his name and brought him up to the point that I feel like if it came down to it and Eli was out and maybe we weren't in contention for an ACC title, that they'd rather just give the keys to the true freshman as opposed to, the 4th-year backup in Cole Gonzalez. So we'll see how that plays out. The first time I saw a picture of Heinschel from training camp, I mistakenly thought it was like an old picture of Kenny Pickett. So maybe that's foreshadowing to what Kenny Pickett did his freshman year, getting his first start in the last game of the regular season against who else but the Miami Hurricanes. So
chance to play spoiler on their season too. I would totally love to see Mason Heinschel in a game this year. Not the way we're probably going to see him in a game this year. I want to see him get significant snaps in a 60-point win, but I fear your prediction's closer to what's going to play out than anything else. Dylan, I kind of tend to fall into your camp. I think I've been thinking 8-4. That's just the number that's been pulsing in my brain like a neon sign for the last month. I thought about switching so that I wouldn't be matching you guys. I do think 7-5 is more likely than 9-3, but I'm going to stick with 8-4 because this is a safe, sunshiny place for your Pitt Athletics fix. I don't know. I think there's a lot of different ways to look at it. This is a team that won 7-6 last year, and then, in my opinion, got better at almost every position. They addressed the offensive line. They addressed the defensive line. You have the best linebacking core in the country. You have All-Americans on both sides of the ball. That is good enough to win you football games. You have a quarterback that started 7-0 and looked like a potential future All-American Heisman contender, day 1 or 2 draft pick. And then there's a clear correlation between his performance before and after he got his head kicked in a game, late in a game that he should not have been in for. And that's just kind of looking at it on paper. I think when you dig a little bit further, there's more problems than that. I mean, do we want to blame the concussion because it's convenient to explain Eli's drop off? Yes, we're gonna do that. That is ours to do. But also, I think there's maybe a more logical explanation, such as a very good Cal defense put the roadmap to beat him out. I think teams figured out that if you just took away his first read and applied a little bit of pressure, you could get him to either throw a horrendous pick because he couldn't go through the reads, or get his head kicked in by one of your giant defensive ends. Hello, SMU. So that definitely creates pause and makes me question the ceiling of this team. However, here is my silver lining, the knight in shining armor coming through the valley to rescue us. His name is Cade Bell. One thing I haven't heard Pitt fans talk about enough. We have a 30-year-old offensive coordinator that totally remastered an offense that we thought was going to suck in one short off season, and had Alabama's table scraps looking like a future Heisman winner again in one off season in those first few games. Yes, I do think that he didn't do a good job adjusting when, the jig was up and, good opponents figured him out. But we have a 30-year-old offensive coordinator in his first Power 4 job. He is going to get better year over year. He is going to learn from his mistakes. I genuinely believe that we are dealing with a superstar here, calling plays for the University of Pittsburgh. So I have full faith in him to be able to iron out a lot of the issues Holstein's having. And if, playing fast and loose with the ball, that high rate of turnover worthy plays is still a problem, I have full faith in his ability to work around it. Now I'm going to get to my prediction real quick, just while we're on it. My bold prediction is that Cade Bell is not the coach of the offense at the University of Pittsburgh in 2026. A lot of people already thought that, but I think we're talking about a big program coming to get. This isn't going to be like a minor step up. I think he's going to get called up to the major leagues next year. Not to imply that Pitt isn't, but I mean that in financial terms. And I think we'll reap the benefits of that. That implied laser show that will result in him getting poached away. So it won't be all, crying. I think 8-4. I think we're going to start very strong. I haven't decided if, as I look off to the schedule, if we're going to slip up against Louisville or NC State or Syracuse. I'm higher on Syracuse than you guys are. I think Steve Angeli is at least decent. We saw him give Notre Dame a much needed spark against Penn State. So he's a hero in my book.
He can't be worse than Kyle McCord was last year.
Not against Pitt. It'd be impossible for him to replicate that performance. I think we drop one of our first 9 games, but I think we start 8-1.
Whoa.
And then lose 3 straight.
Oh boy.
I think we're dropping to Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, and Miami. I'm high on Georgia Tech this year, so I think it kind of resembles last year with an extremely strong start. We're saying the P word. We're having dreams of January, and then a harmful backslide that's less of, this team collapsed, and more of, all right, maybe we had a favorable start and a tough ending. I think that we sneak win number 9 in a bowl game.
Would you sign up for that right now?
Yeah, probably.
I think
probably.
I mean, obviously it would be heartbreaking, but imagine being 8-1 going into a game against Notre Dame, like a home game against Notre Dame. That would be one of the bigger games we've had on the North Shore ever. Depending on, if Notre Dame lives up to what I think people are anticipating for them this year. Being in the conversation that late into the year, I think I would have to sign up for that, even if it meant them ripping out my heart again.
So I'm just starting to think about if Pitt was 8-1, they'd be ranked what, like 23 by the committee? And we'd be furious. We'd start our episode about how stupid the committee is, and Indiana, who's 5-2, is ahead of us, and I'll stop there. But
we may just need to make a pact that we will not complain about Pitt's ranking this year, because as soon as I think we kept ourselves at bay at the beginning of last season, and then as soon as we started pounding the table that we were getting disrespected, SMU flat out just disrespected us and dragged us up and down the field for 60 minutes. And then we don't have to talk about what happened after that. We all know. So I think might be a good rule of thumb. We just stay away from that.
So I think, we'd all love if Pitt was a dark horse this year. And I think we all think that there are some things on this roster that make us think, maybe a sneaky 10-win season. I think we're all trying to temper our expectations after the downfall last year. But I don't think any of us would hate 8-9 wins. Tell me what you need to see on Saturday against the Duquesne Fighting Dukes to maintain your level of excitement or bump up to 10 wins.
So this is a usual topic in week 1 where we talk about if Pitt will hold back, just coast to a victory, get healthy, get in and out, whatever, or if they'll put the pedal to the metal and win by a lot. We saw that against Youngstown State. I guess the second half of Kent State, they turned it up. The first half was weird, but at the end of the day, they scored a lot of points. And especially coming off of the abysmal end to last season, the football team needs a morale boost. The fans need a morale boost. Drop 60. We need everyone bought back in real quick.
60 would be a good start. I think for me, I would love to see, and just to put a number out there, I would love to see us run for 200 yards on the ground. I would like to see our offensive line, assert their dominance over an FCS program. But that would also probably mean that we would get some production from one of the running backs not named Desmond Reed, which I would love to see at this point as well. Because right now, I'd be honest, a huge concern for me is what are we going to do if Desmond Reed has to, sit out a half or he misses a game like we said last year. Joel Goff was pretty much hurt all of his freshman year and has played very minimally. 2 other freshman running backs out for the season. So it kind of leaves Des Reed, Boosie Turner, and Joel Goff. Boosie Turner being a true freshman. So there's not really a lot there. And I know Narduzzi mentioned Kyle Lewis and Braylon Lovelace as the emergency running backs. Kind of would like to see that at some point, but it probably means something went terribly, terribly bad. So I would like to see, 200 yards on the ground, and really like to see Joel Goff, gain some confidence. I know games against FCS teams can kind of give us greater expectations for players. Dan Carter every time we played an FCS team or a spring game. But yeah, I would like to see Joel Goff get running there. Maybe 100 yards for the kid on Saturday.
I want to see dominance in the trenches. That's what you expect to see when an FCS team and an FBS team, much less a Power 4 team, play. But I kind of go the other way where I will be pushing the panic button if they're heating up Eli a little bit. So I need to see a clean pocket. I need to see us applying pressure with 4. I need to know that this defensive line can be acceptable. And last year they weren't. And another big thing I want to see is my big concern, as we'll discuss with Chris Peak here in a minute, is the depth on the 2 deep. I need to see some people rotating in and looking strong in relief, whether it's after we've run up the score or just keeping guys fresh in the beginning of the game. I want to see some young guys on the field looking sharp, and I want names I've never heard of to make plays, because I need reassurance that if the injury bug hits us again this year, that we aren't going to go completely into the tube.
Well, hopefully they can make that happen for you on Saturday, because it is Duquesne. You know, we're actually on a most recent meeting against the Dukes we lost, so this is a revenge game.
Wow.
Something like 85 years in the making.
So what, that was the 40s?
I think 1939 was the most recent meeting.
Wow.
Might need fact checked on that, but yeah, I'm sure Narduzzi's put up the bulletin board material, the news article from 1939 in the Pittsburgh Press.
Let's win one for whoever could have possibly been our coach in 1939.
And let's pour out a couple icy lights for him too.
We'll definitely do that.
I can't wait. Please welcome back to the show a very, very, very special guest, the godfather of Pitt sports media, 24/7 Sports, Chris Peak.
Man.
Does that sound funny? The change of venue after so many years?
It does, yeah. I still catch myself like when I'm doing the podcast. I've had to re-record. We moved the site to 24/7 on March 1st. I would say in that time, I've probably had to re-record at least 3 times, because I've started like saying like the old pantherlair.com tagline as opposed to the new pantherlair.com tagline. So yeah, it's weird. I mean, doing largely the same thing that we did for 20 years. Just, I always say to people, I just have to figure out like which buttons to push to make certain things happen. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I used to do this to make this happen. Now I have to do it this way. So that's the biggest thing. I mean, a lot of people have come over on the message boards, which is great. And it's been fun like that, but still it took a little getting used to, but ultimately we're still doing the same things. You know what I mean? Still the same kind of coverage and everything. So not too much of a transition, I guess.
That's what we like to hear. I was going to say, there's been a lot of changes since the last time we spoke this time last year. We disappeared off the face of the earth for like 9 months. You got a new employer. So like, how are you doing otherwise?
I don't know. That consumed most of my time and interest. But I mean, I think the question the people were really asking is like, where have you guys been? I mean, they were clamoring for it on the message boards, right? Like, I think like you did. I think you guys did the Stringer Bell tweet after there was a thread on the message boards, right? Like, didn't that, because people were like, where are the Loyal Sons? What's going on? Like, where are these guys not, providing content for us anymore? And then you guys did the Stringer Bell tweet, I feel like the next day or something. So it was all, so what's been going on? Were you that crushed by the Toledo game?
First of all, there's a correlation between, we were talking about it. That thread was kind of the kick in the ass we needed. Already having planned, like, when are we going to get on the mic next? That we saw that when we was just like, are you guys doing anything tomorrow night? And so thank you to the Panther Lair for the kick in the ass we needed. But no, honestly, I think it was just a case of we're 3 30-year-olds with jobs that are not this, and Pitt was bad at everything. I think we referenced 8 or 9 times on the last episode. Dylan and I both got married this summer, which is a lot of work, even if you're the groom, which I was told was not the case.
Right.
And we were just kind of headfirst in a lot of the whole coming of age thing. And Squid was on this endless run of dates with Carnegie Mellon ballerinas, not college age. I mean, isn't that the dance hall? We're gonna cut that part out. But
what?
I was gonna say, like, we just went in a totally different direction that I'm.
No, what really happened was those two are getting married, and I spent 8 months meticulously looking over every detail of the Pitt football program to prepare for our return.
The ballerinas are getting married? What?
There are no ballerinas.
You made that part up?
I wouldn't have admitted that I made it up, but Squid, Mr. Tell the Truth over here. No, I was gassing my boy up over here.
It was much cooler. I mean, edit out the part where he said it didn't happen.
They were actually Irish dancers from Pitt, not CMU ballerinas. They're too smart for me.
What are you implying about the Irish? All that we just said about going over to Dublin in 2027, you burn that goodwill with God's chosen people.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find a place to stay for 2027.
That's what we've been up to, Chris.
Okay.
Glad we tied that all together.
It's busy.
We haven't gotten any smarter since the last time we spoke, as you can tell.
I mean, there was plenty to talk about in that time, right? So did you guys do an episode after the bowl game? Like after the season ended? Did you have a recap of sorts?
Yeah, it was sad. We were sad.
It was tough because basketball was also doing the same thing.
Not at that point, they weren't. At that point, they were still like 12-2 at that point, right?
We might have gotten like
pretty
one
quickly
or two
after,
more
though.
And then
it went downhill. Yeah.
It was like, oh no. So our final podcast was celebrating the Super Bowl victory of Kenny Pickett.
Well,
then he went into hiding.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, we just couldn't bring ourselves to put that much effort into being sad and angry all the time, because every episode was just turning into who should we fire first, whose buyout can we afford first, and I don't think people like when we're miserable. They don't like when we're miserable and repetitive. So we did everybody a favor, and now we're back bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
That gets to be a real challenge. Like, the Kevin Stallings year. Like when you lose 18 games in a row or whatever. Like, how do you find a new way to write it? Like on our side, like me and Jim. Sometimes like Jim and I will split things. I think just so we can find different ways to write about it.
Right.
Even like the 6-game losing streak this past year. They each happened in their own unique, like sort of mind-numbing way. So there was something to write about differently for each of those. But in the end, like losing is still just losing. Winning is still just winning. And I think you kind of run out of ways to write about that too. But yeah, it's hard. Repetitive good is one thing. Like repetitive bad is, nobody wants to read that. Nobody wants to hear that,
Even Pitt fans who seem to have a sort of masochism about it, about themselves. We are just a miserable, very negative fan base. And I think that actually makes us unique and means that we're smarter than every other fan base. Take, for example, earlier today, Rich Rodriguez said something about, he was asked a question about, are you going to play two quarterbacks against, I want to say they have RMU.
Robert Morris, yeah.
Yeah, Robert Morris this weekend. And he said the plan is to play two quarterbacks every week. I think the majority of your college fan base is the majority of your dumb college football fan is going to tell yourself like, oh, that means we have two really great quarterbacks. I think Pitt fans are so jaded, we see right through that to like, oh, no, we're screwed. Either our coach is a moron or all of our quarterbacks suck. And it makes us miserable to watch a game with. But
yeah,
we get crushed less, maybe.
No, I think even though Pitt fans like spend all their time waiting for the other shoe to drop, like if something good is happening, like they are constantly just waiting for that. I think it still hits really hard when that shoe does drop. You know what I mean? Like if you were like going through the 7-game winning streak, and after about the Carolina game, or like after the Cal game, we're like, oh, they're just going to get crushed. Like they're no good. Like it's going to be bad. It still was pretty bad when they actually did lose those 6 games in a row. Like I don't think preparing yourself for it, if you spend all off season expecting them to only win 3 games, and then they actually go only win 3 games, it's not like you're going to feel any better about it. You know what I mean? Like, so you get to like feel bad about things that haven't happened, and then also feel bad when those things that you expected to happen did happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because they say if you dread something, you mourn it twice.
Oh,
and that's kind of what you're getting at. So that could be the motto of the Pitt fan base.
Yeah, I think so. And like, I wonder about other fan bases. So like, there are games. I'm trying to think of like a game where Pitt was ahead by a good amount early in a game, but there were still people like, oh, I don't know, watch out, like, you know, the other team just got a first down, like, look out, they're coming back. Like, I wonder if other fan bases do that and just sort of expect that anytime the pendulum swings, it's going to swing against their favorite team, or if that is maybe sort of unique to Pitt. They're like, you're never really out of the tunnel. You know what I mean? Like, no matter how much you think you're getting to the end of the tunnel, like, you're never actually going to make it out.
Do you know how many pick sixes we had against Syracuse before I finally unclenched?
I say that's what I was thinking of. Do you think is that like a learned behavior from the behavior of others that it just like rubbed off on you? Like, did you watch? Is that from like the Cincinnati game in 2009? Like a game that was like, yep, absolutely 3 touchdowns before halftime, like, you know, 3 touchdown lead before halftime, no problem, got this thing wrapped up. And then, like, do you think that, I don't know, are you guys old enough to be shattered by that game?
I got frostbite that game.
Okay, good. I lose track. I guess that was 16 years ago. So is that like a what do they say now? Core memory? That like,
there's a lot of games like that, because you always hear in the stands where, I don't know, let's say Pitt's up 17 points, but they fumble. They're like, oh, just like that one game 11 years ago, it's going to happen again. Now it's going to snowball. It's like, okay. I mean, I would prefer if that didn't happen, but I'm not there right now. But you hear, I think that Syracuse game, I don't know if anything bad happened in Pitt's favor. I think everything went well, so there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity for that. But if there was one like personal foul on a touchdown called back or something stupid, people would have gotten antsy real quick for no reason.
Yeah. I wonder if other fan bases do that. You know what I mean? Maybe that's something that's sort of unique to Pitt, that like no lead is truly safe.
Well, there are probably some fan bases on the opposite end of the spectrum that are just waiting for the call to go in their favor. Like the Alabamas, like the Notre Dame's is like, oh, the other team's going to get screwed here like pretty soon and we'll be fine.
Right. What was it? What do you like? I'm trying to think like the momentum or like the fan reaction in the West Virginia game. Like the Dejon Reynolds catch, I guess, was that like when the fan energy changed?
Yeah, we had a couple of associates who left the stadium before that.
Wow.
Yeah. So they watched from the parking lot on the TV. But after that, it was like, okay, we can relax. But I think leading up to that drive, we were thinking, we're going to lose.
Yeah.
Like, you're bracing yourself.
Right.
I think we do that a lot. It's like, David, you're a big fan of this. You always say like, uh-oh, this is happening, isn't it? Like, we're going to lose.
Right. Yeah. It's the verbal mush. I'm saying something, and maybe that's what Pitt fans are doing. I'm saying something bad is going to happen, much to the chagrin of everyone trying to enjoy the game around me, because I am telling the universe or whatever forces may be, I'm expecting it, so you can't surprise me or hurt me by flipping my fortunes, or I just always, you knock on wood, because if you say something, then the universe is going to spite you and zig when you zag. So if I say Pitt is going to blow this 31-point lead against Syracuse, where Kyle McCord is the worst quarterback anybody has ever seen put on pads, then God or whoever is the master of fates will say, no, he's on to me. I can't get Pitt today.
Right. Yeah. I wonder, like, trying to almost jinx it out of existence, kind of.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
A reverse jinx, if you will.
The reverse jinx. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I get that. I was, there's one game, and I have a friend, and I won't name it, but I remember the Virginia Tech game in 2021, and I was just looking it up to remind myself of the score. Pitt won 28-7, but there was a point in that game, it might have still been like a 14-7 game or something, and Virginia Tech did something. Not anything all that great. And my friend texted me, he's like, uh-oh, here they come. Like, here it goes. I'm like, wait, this team looks pretty good. They're ahead. Like, what? But maybe that it's just constantly waiting for that other shoe to drop. And maybe, like you said, it's like a reverse jinx, speaking it out of existence.
A defense mechanism, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to, like, you can't hurt me. I'm hurt myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a psychologist.
Like that makes it better.
Right.
Yeah.
But, like, Pitt fans are far from, they're not removed from emotion. You know what I mean? The emotion's still very much there. I mean, we see it on the message boards all the time. Like, that is not an unemotional place. So even though they're trying to shield themselves and put up that defense mechanism and claim that they won't be hurt again, it still happens. Unless they just keep winning.
Which is a great segue to this year. Because that is the outcome we're expecting, correct?
Yeah, winning.
Winning every game, maybe by multiple scores. No, but I listened to the pod this morning, to the Morning Pit, which, by the way, it took me years of listening to the Morning Pit before I figured out what it was a play on boards for. Again, we are not the sharpest tools in the shed. But you said today,
it's not actually a play on that word. Like, somebody else said that to me, that, like, I should make a joke that I say, like, get your morning shower, get your morning shave, get your morning pit, because that'd be funny because it sounds like what you refer to. And I was like, it never even occurred to me. It was just like my laziest, quickest, like, morning, talking about pit in the morning. Who cares? Morning pit, whatever, move on. Never once, like, I swear, it never even struck me as a reference like that.
You hear that, Squid? We're smart again.
He has crushed David's hopes and dreams.
No, I think I like it more this way.
It's fine.
Pitt's a great school, and you know, that would be too lowbrow a joke for such a highly educated fan base such as ours.
Leave that for like Vanderbilt or one of those places. Duquesne.
So on the show.
Sorry, I'll have to sell that to a Carlo or one of those guys when they do a Duquesne podcast. Wait, I'm going to start a whole network. I'm going to start a network of morning
shit puns. College football based shit puns. Yeah.
Oh man, morning Duke. Yeah. I'm going to write that down. Okay. What were you saying?
Please. Oh God, if I could only remember. No, you said on the show today, your prediction was 9-3 for the 2025 Pitt Panthers. In line with our little tradition, what do you need to hear from us to get you to 10 wins in the next 20, 30 minutes?
What do I need to hear from you?
Yeah. How can we get you to 10 wins?
Full disclosure, I'd like to jump in. I also predicted 9 wins. David here needs the talking to. He said 8.
So I think on my most recent time that I predicted 9 wins, I said that I was amending that I think there'll be another toe stub and they'll lose to like probably Boston College because Narduzzi's 1-3 against Boston College. So it'll be like 8-4. Because like we know they can pull off like the big like upset, like shocker and all that stuff. They could beat Notre Dame this year, Miami this year, or whatever it is. But it's like getting through all those like landmine games. Somebody, I think I did a podcast last week where I talked about like the 5 most important games of the season or something like that. And it was like West Virginia, Boston College, Syracuse, NC State, Stanford. Like, don't blow it in those games. You know what I mean? Like just take care of those games and then see what you can do against Louisville, see what you can do against Miami, see what you can do against, you know, Notre Dame. And maybe you get 1 or 2 of those. I mean, like if you take care of business in like the 5, like lowest power 4 teams that you're facing, and then you win your other 2, like low non-conference games, you're at 7, right? So then kind of anything you do is sort of icing on the cake. If you can knock off Louisville, if you can go to Florida State and win, maybe Florida State's in one of those like 5, you know, must or should win games. But if you can go down to Georgia Tech, if you can beat Miami, like those are the games. Pitt is just not good at putting themselves in a position where those like big wins elevate them. You know what I mean? Like the biggest wins of the past like 20 years, right? 13-9. That's their 5th win of the season. They go 5-7, right? They beat when they beat Miami with Kenny Pickett in his first start. Again, they get to 5-7. They beat Clemson, and because of that win, they're able to finish with 8 wins. Like you want to like, if you just take care of business in kind of your like lousy games, your like pothole games, then a win like that is actually like a big deal. It can really like elevate you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where they fall short. So I mean, like, 2021, right? Western Michigan. Shoot, Miami was like a toast-up game. 2022 is maybe worse than any of them. Like losing to Georgia Tech like 5 days after they fired Jeff Collins, and losing at Louisville like a week or 2 weeks or whatever it was later is not that much better. Like
to a team that was begging to fire their coach.
Right. And you have like how many interceptions in the red zone? Like that was disgusting. If they just win those 2 games, which they should have, the talent they had on that team was good enough to win those 2 games. Now you've won 10 games in the regular season, right? You're going to Charlotte, regardless of what you did against North Carolina. But because you'd be like 7-1 in the conference at that point, because your only losses would be Carolina and Tennessee. And then you're going to Charlotte, and I don't know who you're facing, but like it's a totally different thing. And so if you had just taken care of business in those like crappy games, don't blow one of those, you have a chance. And so last year it was probably, I would say, Virginia and Boston College, right? These total toe stubs in those games, potholes that you fall into. So the most important games on the schedule this year are those. Like, don't lose to Boston College.
It's always Boston College.
Don't lose to Boston College.
We lost to Boston College last week of the season, 2019?
Yep.
Yeah, 2019. I remember leaving that stadium, and it was Dylan. He's not here, but he'll remember. We were just looking at each other like, man, we are destined for 7-5 every year. Like, if we can't win this game, to get that one more win. Like, that one more win looks so much better. If we can't do it tonight against Boston College and their backup quarterback.
Yeah. It was gross. And Boston College went to a bowl game because they won that game. They were 6-6 team that year. And I think they fired their coach, right? Or he quit or whatever. Like, you can't lose that game. You know what? The Miami game they lost that year too. The 16-12 game. Kidding?
Yeah.
To hold a team to 16 points and you don't win. So like those things. But yeah, to your Boston College point, that 19 game was disgusting. The next year, the COVID year, they go up there when Kenny broke his ankle. They miss an extra point in overtime. And then this most recent game last year, like they were the better team.
Who's the quarterback of BC that 2020 year? He must have been pretty good.
Monster arm. Kid had a big. You know how I know that kid had a big arm? He kept showing up on all the draft highlights for Zay Flowers. Of course, they were always commenting like, "Look how good Zay Flowers is, even with this bad quarterback play."
So I guess how are we going to lose to Boston College miserably this year is the question.
It'll be something dumb. I mean, like
4 missed field goals, maybe.
Yeah, that's almost too obvious. I feel like it has to be even dumber than that. Something ridiculous, but I mean, don't blow that game, right? Like, you should be better than Boston College, and I don't mean to be like demeaning to the Eagles, but like, come on, man, you got to be better than that, and you should be better than don't go out to Stanford and lose, because I don't want to hear about time changes and all that stuff. They stink. Like, you should win that game. Don't go to Syracuse and lose. There's never like that. That's another one. I mean, I think Narduzzi's lost to Syracuse twice, right? 2017, the first game Kenny Pickett played because what's his name? Ben DiNucci's helmet came off, right? And then 2023, like maybe the ugliest game in the Narduzzi era. I've often said that. Do you guys agree about that? The 2023 Syracuse game at Yankee Stadium with the tight end running the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, like competition would be like Mason Rudolph game here was a destruction, right? The last 2 Notre Dame games, the 2020 game here and then that one out there in 23 were both brutally bad. The 51-6 game was pretty horrible. The UCF game in 2018, I don't think it's enough credit for just being an embarrassment to
a lot of really injuries that day too to add to the embarrassment. Like everyone was like laughing at Pitt for losing badly and also clipping. Like I forget who the D tackles were back then, but they were.
It was probably
down, left and
Keyshawn
right.
Camp and and like UCF was like pointing it out, and it was just like
you can't be faking injuries when you're down like 28 in like the early third quarter.
Like what an embarrassment! But I still think Syracuse at Yankee Stadium with that tight end running the ball. I don't.
That's about as embarrassing as it gets.
Right. That's got to be the ugliest loss in RDPR, I think.
My brain says that one Penn State game, but I think it's just clouded by the fact that I sat in the pouring rain for 3 hours. But
that was miserable. The only thing about that Penn State game is like
it's close at halftime.
It was really close, and like they were only ahead because Kirk Christodoulou fumbled the punt, or maybe the one got blocked or something. The guy like returned it either for a touchdown. Like they scored really late on like a Christodoulou screw up right before halftime. So it would have been even like closer. It was like 10-6 or something like that. And then they had a couple like more bad special teams. They gave them short fields. And I mean, like the rain definitely, it rained on that 2018 ACC championship game too. But like the nice thing about that was like Travis Etienne just let everyone know immediately, like, this is the
don't worry about this one.
You may have thought like, oh, you'll be able to run the ball or what, like just, if you want to go home, if you don't want to sit in the rain, I'm going to run this ball 75 yards. So everybody knows, like, you know what I mean? And so I appreciated him for that, but I was sitting inside, so it wasn't quite as bad.
Yeah, we were on the top row of the stadium.
Yeah, that's
so just to add a cherry on top of this, like, very depressing conversation, the Phil Dracovic brawl, despite being like pathetically winnable, might be up there for the sloppiest game of all time.
And that's one where like sometimes I think there's a back and forth, like, oh, is it on coaches, is it on players? Like that one is like 100% on coaches. Like how you let that kid come out after halftime and even have like shoulder pads on, how you even let him stand on the sideline, let alone like go back on the football field and attempt to move the ball down. Like it was an injustice. I actually felt bad for the kid. Certainly felt bad for the rest of the team. I mean, like that was malpractice to put him out there. And then he started like two more games, right? He still started like Virginia Tech and North Carolina after that. How bad do you have to be? That was an ugly one.
Can we be happy now?
Yeah, I was going to say the plan here is to get all of us to 10 wins by the end of this conversation. I am at 5 now. You guys have tanked me. My spirits were so high going into this conversation. We had a lovely little mini preview with Dylan earlier. Morale was high, and now we're crushed. And I almost don't even want to ask you the first 2025 specific question that I had because I'm afraid of the answer.
Other than like predicting the record?
Yeah, I guess that counts. But yeah, like personnel specific. And now I'm worried because you're going to tell me to expect Phil Dracovic 2.0 this season.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'm not going to say that. I mean, he looked like Phil Dracovic 2.0 for the first 40 minutes of the Cincinnati game. So, like the first 40 minutes of the Cincinnati game last year, I was like, oh, this guy's bad. This is not a good quarterback. He is I distinctly remember sitting here watching it and being like, he came out of the Kent State game, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. I'm like, all right, they might have figured it out. They might have got a quarterback. And then like through the first 3 quarters of that Cincinnati game, I'm like, nope.
Never mind.
Bad again.
Let's get Yarnell out there.
Get Nate Yarnell. I don't even know why they're like, again, this is malpractice to stick with this guy. Why have you not pulled this quarterback? And then he is incredible and, did awesome things for the next like 4 games. So I don't think it'll be Dracovic 2.0. I think he got that out of his system.
Good. There were ups and downs last season. We all know exactly how that went. We've rehashed it a million times. What I'm more concerned about, and again, you have only made me sad thus far. So please bake that into your answer. That it is incumbent on you to make me feel excited about Pitt.
Okay.
We've heard a little bit that people have heard or seen that he's been pretty turnover prone in fall ball. Can you speak to what you've heard about how our valiant, glorious quarterback has looked going into this season and what your expectations for Eli are?
Yeah, I don't think he had a great spring because he was still kind of injured, still getting back from his injury that he suffered last year. And I think that was sort of the same thing last year, too. I don't think he was great in spring ball. Training camp this year, I think he had turnovers. I think they've all thrown turnovers. I had one person tell me it was about equal among the three top quarterbacks in terms of the turnovers. You'd like your starting quarterback to have none, but there's something there. I think there's a part of Eli that, like I keep saying, he's like a gunslinger and a gamer. Those two like cliched terms. But I think that might kind of be him. That like there might be a lot of times where you're like, you don't look very good. You don't seem good at football. And then all of a sudden it's like, holy cow, how did you have the stones to throw it to Dejon Reynolds in the cornerback there and just like nail that pass? Like, how did you do that? And oh, wow, you're leading, like coming back from 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. You're just like, you're finding Kanate Mumfield wide open in the zone. You're hitting Des Reed underneath and those guys. Like, so he's got times where he's, I feel like maybe he's the kind of quarterback that you just like, well, that wasn't very good, but I'm pretty sure there's a pretty awesome thing coming here. And then he does it. He like scrambles for a big one, or he runs around and makes a big pass, or he just gets really sharp sometimes. I mean, you'd like him to be more consistent. Some of it could be chalked up to being a redshirt freshman last year, but like, I don't know, maybe that's just kind of his game. And it might be, it might cause you to rip your hair out a little bit at times, but then it also might cause you to be like, holy cow, just came back from, being down 10 and with 5 minutes to go against West Virginia. I think that might be who he is. And that's kind of what I expect for this year. And I think if he plays 12 games, I think he gets 3,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, might be like 13, 14 interceptions. But I think he goes over 3,000 yards. I mean, I think he was obviously well on the pace for that. And I think with the volume of this passing offense, I think they're going to throw it enough. Now he's got to play at least 12 games. And I don't think that's any guarantee. Jim and I, you guys might've heard me say this before. Jim and I have a little running joke of like, of Eli Holstein and Haynes King, like over under 1.5 of them are both playing when Pitt and Georgia Tech play, in the next to last game of the season, because there's a better than even chance that neither one of those guys is still like active, because they both sort of play a similar game. Haynes King's a little bit smaller than Eli, but they both kind of do they both like to run. And so they both get hit and they both miss time.
No sense of self-preservation. No. Not an ounce of self-preservation in either of those two men.
Yeah. Which I appreciate that,
Yeah.
I think that's, I think some of the, Pitt quarterbacks' greatest folk heroes have had that, right? Tyler Palko had that. Kenny Pickett had that. It's probably why the Wake Forest guy shouldn't have been deked out by Kenny, because he would have been like, this guy's not sliding. He never slides. He's going to try and run me over. That's kind of how he plays. And so I think you just sort of are going to take the good with the bad, because the good will usually outweigh it and lead to wins. Like I say, if he plays 12 games, I think he throws for 3,000 yards, which really hasn't happened that much in Pitt history. So I think that's where he can get.
I think to answer everything that happened last year, you can do it with one sentence. And it's, wow, this is a freshman quarterback in the first year of a new system. And you're thinking, how much better can this get? Because it's already so good. Like, imagine how good they'll be next year and the next year. Or maybe they're both, one's coaching at Miami and one's in the NFL. And then 3 plays later, like, okay, yeah, this is a freshman quarterback in the first year of a new offense. That play was so dumb and wasn't even close to working. Like, why did you throw that? And we saw every level of that to extremes. So I'm hoping that there's less of a holy crap, this looks like an offense of guys that have no clue what they're doing, and a little bit more consistent, because it'd be nice if Eli Holstein was like a outside shot at the Heisman, like his name's like on the bottom of the graphic, but we don't need, like, there's Desmond Reed, like we got enough guys, like make it easier for him. Like, you don't have to be Johnny Manziel for this season to be like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree about that. I don't know if he has that psyche, you know? I don't know if he can find that balanced, calm, I'll just work my way down the field. I think he's a home run hitter. You know what I mean? I think he's out there like, you know, you guys want to see me hit some dingers, and he just let's go, you know?
Which is kind of tough given the offense that he's in, because I feel like one thing Cade Bell's really good at is I am going to scheme a guy open 8 yards downfield
Yes.
on 100% of plays. And that's why we're talking about, you know, some of our receivers and you know, whether we were talking about, without naming names before we pressed record, the depth of our receiver group and their efficiency last year. I like these tiny little guys that can just run that curl route and they're open for an 8-yard easy one, turn around, fall forward 2 yards. So I'm plenty happy with our receiving core, but it does
also,
worry me.
Quick, don't run those 4-yard out routes anymore, because they almost get pick sixed every time.
Yep.
So
no
I
more
hope
out
those
routes.
are out of the playbook.
Yep. Agree. Unless you're going to run like an out and up or something like that, where you know, like the book should be out that, like, if there's anything even close to an out route, get ready to jump it and, you know, take it all the way back. So they should probably more like, you know, out and ups or whatever they call them, those kind of routes, and then you can go with the dinger. But
that specific part of the route tree aside, I think that we have a decent crop of receivers and a great schemer in Cade Bell. So maybe not great that we have a quarterback that wants to go for the home run ball as much as he does, and is as prone to whoopsie daisies as he is. That's the official term for it, the technical term.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah. I mean, he, you know, lets it loose and oops, you got it. You know, the other team got it. Darn it. But then he gets to go make a tackle, right? And he's a big guy, so that's kind of his. He should have to run guys down if he throws the interception. But I don't know. I mean, I think there is a question too of, like, do they have that deep threat downfield guy? That's probably the thing Kenny Johnson needs to show the most, is like to actually emerge as being able to do that, which he hasn't really done. You know, I mean, I guess, what was it? Was it Kent State? He had the big catch down the sideline last year. Didn't he have a
first game? I think he had a big one.
Yeah, and like just short of the goal line, right?
Yeah.
Like, didn't it get him to like the 2 or something? So I mean, like, I think he needs to show that he can do that. I think he's probably their best option. I mean, he's probably the biggest of the guys who are going to play consistently. I mean, Deuce Spann is bigger, but Deuce Spann is on the, you know, believe it when you see it type of list for me. I believe he is tall. I believe he's pretty fast. There's no real strong evidence over the course of his 5 or 6 years in college football that he can do things. So kind of need to see there. So Kenny's kind of like their best combo of, like, the size and the speed. And if he could be a downfield guy, I think that'd be huge for them. But I don't know. I don't know. It is more, like you said, it's more of those short passes in the offense.
It's funny you bring it up, because that last question I wrote down when we were talking before we started recording was, is the Kenny Johnson thing ever going to happen? So you seem to at least be a little skeptical as well.
I don't know if I'm skeptical that it'll never happen. I just like I agree. Like, we've been waiting for him to be a certain kind of thing for a couple of years now, and we've been talking about how he could be that thing for a couple of years now, and he hasn't been that thing. And I mean, granted, he was only a sophomore last year. Kanate was here, and Raphael Williams and all that stuff. But like now's the time. I mean, like you're the bona fide number one. There's no one else. We all think you've got this ability, and I think you do. Now you need to put it together. You know, like, I don't know if his, like, you know, low reception count or target count last year was on him or more on Cade Bell or more on Eli. I don't know what it is, but, like, you're supposed to be really good. And I think you've got the skills to be really good. Let's see it. I think when Jim and I did the over-unders, I set the over-under on Kenny Johnson catches at 70.5, which was the number I set for Kanate Mumfield last year. And Mumfield only got to 52. So I don't know if Kenny will get to 70.5 or not.
Would be cool. I think if he gets to 70.5, that is a extremely good indicator for us.
Yeah, it's a lot of catches. I mean, that's
my bold prediction was Poppy Williams gets 70 catches. Because I think he'll be the possession guy, like the quick little hitch and run after the catch guy, and Kenny Johnson will be the big play guy.
Yeah.
So if they can both be those guys, I'd feel a lot better about our offense because, like you said, the receiver room is kind of a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Speaking of the receiver room, the 2 deep was published today. The first couple, what's the word I'm looking for? First couple rungs on the ladder for the Pitt starting lineup. Chris, I'd love to hear your initial reaction to what the Pitt program put out today. Who's going to be starting? Who's going to be backing them up? And what were the big surprises that you saw? What didn't you see coming?
I don't know if there were too many. I mean, I think it more or less followed what we kind of saw and thought throughout training camp. I mean, we knew the Jeremiah Marcelin injury was a real hit to the middle linebacker depth, and that kind of came through. I thought it was interesting that they listed 9 wide receivers. I thought it was interesting that they listed 5 running backs. I don't know. Everything else more or less followed probably what we expected. I'll tell you what's interesting. They listed 11 true freshmen on this depth chart, which is the most of any year of the Narduzzi era in the season opening depth chart. They've never had 11 true freshmen on the 2 deep. Now, they probably didn't have as many players as they have on the 2 deep because, like I said, there's 5 running backs, there's 9 wide receivers, there's like 7 cornerbacks, 5 safeties. I mean, like they listed basically half the roster here. So maybe it's, you have to take that into consideration. But yeah, they've never had this many freshmen. I actually had a quick game for you guys because I made a list of all the freshmen who've been on the season opening 2 deep for Pitt over the years. And so I have 1, 2. Oh, wait, I had another one. 3. No, 1, 2, 3 guys. All right, who are on a season opening depth chart. And I want to know if you can tell me what position they were listed at. And also tell me if you've ever heard this name before. Okay. You ready? Jared Campbell. This was in 2019. Jared Campbell. Have you ever heard that name before?
Pass. I would like to phone a friend.
Jared Wayne typo.
Nope. This was a guy as a true freshman who was listed on the 2 deep.
That feels like an offensive lineman name.
No, he was a punter. He was a true freshman punter on the 2019 roster. All right, Ethan Van Buskirk, 1 year earlier, 2018. Ethan Van Buskirk. Anybody remember Ethan Van?
I'm going based off of vibes on all of these, and Van Buskirk feels like a defensive line name.
Really?
Pretty sure there's a Van Buskirk volleyball player for Pitt.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that right? I didn't make that connection.
So did he play libero?
Oh, Lane Van Buskirk.
Yeah.
They don't have men volleyball. Male volleyball. When was she here? Oh, she was here like at that same time. Yeah, she was a senior in 2019. And Ethan was a freshman in 2018. So Ethan must have been Lane's younger brother. Does that help at all? They're from Canada. Does that help?
Receiver.
No,
he was a punter.
Oh, also a punter.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Last one. Gray Bransafort. He was Ethan's teammate on the 2018 team. Gray Bransafort was on the initial
Kicker?
2 deep. You're getting closer.
Is it special teams?
He was a long snapper. All these guys.
All these Calatomitis years yet.
There were like 12 walk-on specialists who have been listed on the like 10 or 12 walk-on specialists have been listed on the 2 deep as true freshmen to open the season. So anyway, I just thought that was and the guy this year came on Tijerina. Have you seen this one? Came on Tijerina? No.
That's a new one too.
Yeah, he's a true freshman, kicker, punter, something like that. But for future reference, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hijack things there. I just once I like research something like that, I just want to like share it to people. And so you guys were the first people I've talked to. So I haven't gotten it. If like we had done the Wednesday night show with Jim last night, I would have said all these things to him, and then I wouldn't have bothered you with it. But the one thing to keep in mind, though, if you take out all the specialists over the Narduzzi era, of the true freshmen who made the two deep, the first two deep of the season on offense and defense, like there were 31 total. 21 of the 31 all played as true freshmen, didn't redshirt. Only 10 of those guys redshirted. So there's like 9 offensive and defensive true freshmen on the two deep this year. You would assume if the trends hold, at least 6 of those guys will burn their red shirts. So that's the relevant part for this year to keep an eye on. Mason Heinschel, Jakarian Turner, all 3 receivers, Torian Chester, Manny Taylor, Josh Carrier, and Sean Lee. You can probably bank that 5 or 6, if not 7 of those guys will play this year. So there's your useful factoid to bring forward. And if you ever run into a person in a Bransford jersey, it might be a relation to Gray.
Well, that's interesting because my new thing that I decipher is the off-season coach interviews. And it used to be easy to pick up like, oh, they're actually talking highly of this guy. But now in the era where anyone can transfer if they don't play for like one season, I wonder whenever Narduzzi and all these coaches are hyping up a true freshman, like, oh, Sean Lee, he's been looking great. Oh, like Mason Heinschel, he's been looking amazing. Like, does he make him feel special? Amazing, yeah. Or is this just like I'm going to gas this guy up so he thinks he is like this close to playing? So I haven't cracked the code yet. I don't know like if there's any tells that Narduzzi has whenever he's talking. Does he like twitch his eye or something? If he's lying, he doesn't.
Well, I have that voice. I have that voice in my head too when he brings it up out of nowhere. When you're like, so Pat, what how do you feel like Kyle Lewis is doing moving forward with the defense? Really mastering it this year. He's like, oh, Kyle's great feel, and I'll tell you who's killing it is Torian Chester, the offensive lineman. You're like, what? Where did that come from? He'll do that kind of out of nowhere, just name drop somebody. He's like, wait, I didn't, because if I ask you about it, if I'm like, Pat, how is Bryce Yates doing at wide receiver? Like, that's one thing. Like, okay, you're going to talk him up, but like when you just randomly out of nowhere mention a guy, it's like. I have that voice in my head too. I'm like, so you want to make sure he doesn't transfer, huh? Mm-hmm. You making this comment here is not going to stop
EJ
Colorado.
Borghetti's got a little
right.
In his ear saying like, hey, talking about Torian Chester.
Yeah, right. Meanwhile, Colorado's collective is out there. They're like, crap, can't give that guy $500,000 now. Narduzzi mentioned him on a March 13th interview. Damn.
So we're suggesting that there's a huge increase in true freshmen on the two deep because Dews is dangling a carrot in front of these guys in the portal era.
Could be. He did say that some of those guys will end up playing, and that'd be cool.
Yeah, it could be. I'm like glancing over my list of previous true freshmen who made the two deep. Jordan Addison obviously ended up transferring. Byron Floyd, the long snapper, ended up transferring. Lamar Seymour, Israel.
And those were equal in terms of impact. Yes.
I mean, when I started saying that, you probably expected me to say Byron Floyd before I said Jordan Addison. So
right.
I
both former guests of the show, both friends of the show.
Oh,
we could not retain them. We're sorry.
Maybe this is on us. Maybe we're chasing people away.
I think. Maybe. I mean, did the checks clear? Did the check bounce or something? Or did you not do it as an NIL deal?
Is that the goodness
Can't tell if we should answer that question honestly or as a joke, but either way.
I still have my Snapper 49 t-shirt that Byron Floyd sent me when he was trying to raise money. You remember that? Byron Floyd at Snapper 49, he was selling spices.
The hot sauce is in my fridge right now.
Hot sauce, yeah. I used I made really good Chex Mix using some of the Snapper 49. I don't think it was the steak seasoning. It was like the all-purpose seasoning. Like in place of your seasoning salt and whatnot, I used the Snapper 49 all-purpose seasoning. Made really good homemade Chex Mix. Highly recommend it. About a tablespoon.
I believe it. That stuff was surprisingly high quality. Mm-hmm. It's still in the fridge, which tells you all you need to know. But I was surprised by it. I also thought that was like a weird route to go because I think Cal had a lot of success just being like, "Hey, man, Children's Hospital. Where else are you going to give your money?"
He's going to cut his hair.
He cut his hair. Yeah, he was an outgoing guy. He was local. I don't think Byron had all the elements to pull it off the way and play. And he was like, like you say, he was like selling stuff. He wasn't just like, hey, just donate, please. So I think people might have thought he was trying to make money or something. I don't know. Maybe it worked out better in Buffalo. University at Buffalo.
Hey, this is a Big Mac podcast, so we were big fans of Byron and his family. They helped out a lot with the golf outing that we used to do, but
nice.
don't do anymore because we don't like to work that hard anymore.
You guys worked hard on that. I always got the impression that you did, at least.
So Greg did.
It looked like hard work from the outside.
Yeah, but you
getting 30 college athletes to a golf course in wherever Quicksilver is was certainly a challenge.
It kind of, NIL kind of made that whole thing way worse to have to do, because at the beginning it was like, hey kid, do you want a couple $100 to come to a golf outing? Hell yeah, I don't have anything going on Saturday morning. And now I think the payment expectations have gotten a bit higher. And the willingness to no call, no show a paid engagement. I don't know. That's always been there. Been there.
College kids. I mean, no matter how far we get with the professional athlete side of things, they're still college kids. And
you would be floored how many of these student athletes had car issues the morning of the golf outing. You'd be completely shocked.
Well, cars are unreliable. Pittsburgh, there's a lot of potholes.
A lot of potholes, yeah.
A lot of salt gunks up the engine. I mean, that's a lot of car issues. It's understandable.
A lot of car issues, yeah.
A lot of car issues.
So to go back to the Too Deep.
Right. Surprises. Yeah. Nothing. It was pretty much what we thought it was going to be, but there were a lot of freshmen on there.
Yeah. Not to, the real thing that we're here to discuss is the Vietnam flashbacks Squid and I get from the golf outing. But no.
I actually have a question, Too Deep, kind of related. And it kind of ties in with your theory here of like this percentage of new guys will actually get some run. If you had to make a wager on one new contributor who basically did nothing last year, who would it be? Who's going to be the guy that's like, oh yeah, this guy's a staple?
So not a true freshman.
Anyone, it can be a transfer. It can be a true freshman, just someone who did basically nothing last year.
Yeah. I mean, Cruz Brookins wouldn't count, right? He played like 200, 300 snaps or something. Some of the tight ends, maybe. I mean, because like Overman was here and Malachi Thomas was here, but I mean, they basically did nothing. They only caught combined 17, 18 passes. They're possible. I mean, I think Joel Goff is going to play a ton. I don't know if you would count. He kind of appeared at the end of the season. I think he's going to play a lot and probably be pretty good.
You talk about definitely count, because there's games and things that happen at the end of the year that I've kind of erased from my memory.
Yeah.
Like I forgot how many guys were injured down the stretch.
Yeah. Like all of the running backs.
Yeah.
Well, and by all I mean
Daniel Carter missed several games.
Yeah, he did. And even when he came back, Daniel Carter and Derek Davis were hurt. So Goff had to play. And
remember Rodney Hammond? That whole saga happened. We memory hold a lot of things.
He can transfer back now. We need a running back.
It was really funny because when I said about the over-unders, I found my spreadsheet from the over-unders last year, and there's all these Rodney Hammond touchdowns over under 8.5, Rodney Hammond percentage of running back carries 51.5%, all this stuff. I did Desmond Reed total touches 155.5, and almost all of the media that I polled took the under on that, because at that point we didn't know Rodney Hammond was going to be suspended. So the expectation was not for Desmond Reed to be, flirt with a 2,000-yard all-purpose season for the third time in Pitt history. The expectation was for him to be the change of pace back behind Rodney Hammond as the lead dog. And that all changed when he got suspended. But yeah, it's a weird sort of, it is a weird turn of events that happened there. But yeah, Goff would probably be a guy I would choose. They need to fix his stats, because if you look at last year's stat book, they still have Allen Bryant catching a pass, because Allen Bryant wore number 26 and Goff wore 26.
I just, as we were having this conversation, noticed that, said, who is that guy? And just kind of kept flipping through because, again, as Squid pointed out, blacked out a lot of that end of that season. If some true freshman defensive back walked on and caught a slant route for 5 yards, you could convince me of that.
Yeah, I think more likely it's that the Game Above Sports Bowl staff just put the wrong 26. So now Goff wears 8. So it'll be Tamon Lynam getting all of those stats. And as someone pointed out, it's going to be really, really annoying trying to tell an 8 from a 0 when those guys are on the field. Like, oh, is that Reed now or is that Goff? Both 4-letter names. So it's not like somebody's got a really long line. Oh, it's so-and-so. Like, they need to, one of them needs to always wear like a white sleeve on his left elbow or something like that. Because the 8 and the 0, it's going to be impossible. Like, I'm looking behind you right now. That could very easily be an 8. And from the press box or the stands, we'll have no idea.
Well, you got to keep in mind, Des Reed is 5'6", and Jules Goff is a towering Goliath at 5'9". So I think that's going to make it a little bit easier for us.
It's true.
Yeah.
Stupid cathedral.
So you mentioned the number changes, but those were published today. Do you have a favorite?
The 2 big D tackles going to single digits, that's always funny. Isaiah Neal went to 2. Jasir Whittington went to 4. Nothing will ever be as funny as Tyreek Jarrett going to 6 in the even worse cathedral font that they had. But otherwise, no. I mean, like I say, Blue Hicks going to 3 was a real disappointment because I was hoping he would stick to 81 and be like a proper receiver. Davion Pritchard, the defensive back, switched from like, I don't know. He had some normal defensive back number and he switched to 20, which is another normal defensive back number. Bo Jackson picking up the number 12 mantle. It's a proud history of number 12 quarterbacks at Pitt. But no, nothing really. I mean, you know, the D tackle is wearing single digits. That's funny. I like it.
That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the funkier numbers. We were talking earlier about how when we had that huge freshman receiver class, there were guys in like the 30s. I kind of wish Kenny Johnson was still like 24 or something.
I think he was in 35 during camp. I mean, that's like just an awful, that's a fullback number, and so it's disappointing that
Cade Bell doesn't believe in those.
No. Well, that's what we couldn't figure out with this Justin Holmes thing. We're like, why are they signing a fullback? What are you going to do with this 6-foot guy? Is this not like, this has to be one of the weirdest things, right? That like Marshall listed Justin Holmes at 6 feet tall and he gets to Pitt and now what is he listed at? 6'3", 6'4", or something like that. And he's much closer to that than he is to 6 foot. And Kent State listed him at 6'3" or 6'4" or whatever. It's just for some reason, Marshall listed him at 6 foot. I don't get it. It was a weird thing.
Not the highest standards in Huntington, West Virginia.
I do have a lot of sympathy for the people responsible for updating rosters for colleges. The amount of transfers, like anytime the portal opens, you're like, God damn it, work's going to suck so bad tomorrow. I got to take all these guys off the roster page, find all their pictures. That's got to be a chore.
Yeah. And you know how sensitive guys are about their height. So you're off by half an inch. You're probably hearing about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Guys, breaking alert from ESPN, real-time news. The Browns are sending quarterback Kenny Pickett to the Las Vegas Raiders for a 5th-round pick.
Nice. What did the Eagles give for him? What did they trade him to the Eagles for?
It was like a 6th or a 7th.
See? His value's going up, baby. His value's going up.
But now he's in a position where he's not going to start. And he had a shot to start this year. I don't know how I feel about this.
I think he just needed a fresh start. You know what I mean? I think he was in a tough spot there. You don't want to be part of the circus with Shedeur, Dylan Gabriel. Like, you don't want to no. This is where he needs to go. He can mentor under Geno Smith. Perfect mentor for him. His kind of guy. I think this is just great.
Aren't we worried about the optics of Pitt's greatest quarterback since Dan Marino backing up a West Virginia guy?
He will inevitably overtake Geno Smith.
Yeah.
I just feel bad for all the people that bought the Pickett Browns jerseys.
It'll still be funny. I mean, wear it to a Steelers-Browns game.
I'll say this. I was not happy about him going to the Browns because that was just an absolute dumpster fire. Like, no matter who's going to play is going to do terrible. And that might have just been like the final straw of his career. It's like, yeah, you failed at the Browns. No one really wants you anymore. But Vegas, they got some guys. Pickett, Genty, Brock Bowers.
Yep.
Sign me up.
He's going to hand it off to Genty so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Look, man, if you can run the victory formation in a Super Bowl, you're a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
He's in the Super Bowl culture out in Vegas, so they brought Kenny Pickett in.
You want somebody who's been there, right? You want somebody who's been on the biggest stage and, was able to get the job done.
He's going to be in the same building as Tom Brady.
Well, that's the other thing too, right? Like, this trade doesn't happen without Tom Brady saying, hell yeah, I need that guy on my team, right? So Tom Brady just signed. I have a friend who we constantly argue about this. I have a fantasy football side bet with him, the Crush Groove Time Is Going to Tell side bet that Kenny will be a top 12 quarterback at some point in his career, fantasy wise, over the course of a season. And so this is all good material for me to text my friend. So I know we've been talking for a while. We got to wrap this up soon because I got to text all this stuff to him because he's probably already texting me.
Yeah, you might have some reporting to do. We're getting in the way of you doing your job. So let me ask, has all of this senseless meandering got you up to 10 wins? Because I think I'm there now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think most of the stuff we talked about kind of convinced me. I mean, I think when you think about Kenny going to the Raiders, you think Byron Floyd's spice mix, you think about Ethan Van Buskirk's volleyball playing sister.
You think about the defunct Loyal Sons charity golf outing.
The golf outing, the work it takes to get. Yeah.
Those players have so much more time to prepare for the season without having to go out to golf.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's worth at least half a win.
I think so. So, I wasn't really sure about Pitt against Louisville. Feeling pretty good about that one now. And I got to say, I'm feeling like they split the Miami Notre Dame games. I started thinking about that Chex Mix. I think they're going to split those games. So I feel pretty good about it. I think I got to 10 there.
And I did too, because you're telling me to be at 10.
If the offensive line stays healthy, if Eli plays at least 12 games, if Desmond Reed plays at least 12 games, perhaps more importantly than either of the first two, if Desmond Reed plays at least 12 games and they don't lose any more linebackers, there's no reason they can't win 9 and have a shot at 10. I think those are all well within reach. It won't be easy, but I think they're good enough. Again, if all of those things happen, I think they're good enough to be able to, have that in reach, provided they don't stub their toe against Boston College.
Hear that, everybody? We got there. We did it. 3 years in a row, and I swear this is the year we're going to be right.
Chris, and we didn't even have to include the bowl game, right?
Which bowl game? They're going to the playoff.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, right. You're right.
They're playing a couple of them.
Right. So what? They face Clemson in the ACC championship game? Is that what we're? See, the 9-3 that I carved out, where I was like, look, they're gonna lose to Louisville and lose to. I had NC State as the pothole game that they would stub their toe in that one.
We never beat them in anything.
No. And then lose to Notre Dame, but then finish the season again winning against Miami. That 9-3 is great because it puts them at 6-2 in the conference. Probably doesn't get them to Charlotte, so they can go 9-3, get a mid-level bowl game against a power conference opponent like a UCLA in the Sun Bowl type deal. Win that, get 10 wins, and you feel great. You don't have to go 9-3. End up in the ACC championship game, win your way into the playoff, and then get blown out in the first round. You know what I mean? How many people are sitting back and being like, well, SMU is really a good program. I mean, they were a playoff team last year. They were, and I'm sure SMU trumpets that a lot. But I feel like, I don't know, it might almost be better just to settle with 10 wins and a nice bowl game.
And springboard into the next year. with an undefeated season.
Year. Yep. Exactly. When it's a rebuilding year, and then you understand if you take a step back. Just charting out the next few years for you guys.
Man, this got dark again.
We were supposed to end. I had to add one extra sentence, and I just ruined it. But when they rebuild with Mason Heinschel playing behind like Torian Chester and throwing to Tony Kinsler, and they and all these like fast, short guys in the recruiting class. Yeah, my friend, the guy I was referencing about the Kenny Pickett thing, he just texted me. So,
he's worried.
And he's like rubbing it in. So, but in 3 years or 2 years with Mason Heinschel and all these like really good linebackers, they're signing great linebackers in this class. The DNs look like. Then they're going to beat Oklahoma State in the ACC championship game.
We just got to find 4 or 5 more Chris Bickles, and we'll get there.
Yeah, they have to be out there.
Yeah, it's too good a school for there to not be more of them.
I think so. Yep. But I don't
hear
know where
that,
they are.
Pitt fans. Put all of your money into the Pitt Athletics program. Chris Peak said so.
Yep.
Start stacking that bread.
Buy all of the Rashad Battle NIL shirts you can.
Does Rashad Battle have NIL shirts? I haven't seen
sure
those.
Does.
Chris, thank you for this adventure. It is always a pleasure. I can't say that I feel any better about Pitt than I did an hour ago.
Well, probably if we spent more time like breaking down the team, maybe it could have. Like I think when I said like the quick thing about like, oh, if the O-line stays healthy and Kenny or Eli and Dez play 12 games and they don't lose another linebacker, I think there was more analysis in that like one compound sentence than probably like 45 minutes of talking prior to that. For me at least.
Correct.
I mean,
yes.
Like
yes.
you guys brought the info and the hard hitting analysis. I've just been screwing around and so. I apologize for that, but I tried to jam a lot into that one sentence.
We are your outlet for nonsense. You have to keep the morning Pit tight, concise, insightful.
Yep.
We are the playground.
Consightful.
People don't.
I try to put them together. Concise.
Yes, consightful.
Because I don't.
People
have time.
don't listen to Loyal Sons for intelligent conversation.
The people were calling for it. I mean, the people have been clamoring for the return of the Suns. So I mean, like. There's something. You guys have something that they want.
We're the circus. You're the bread. We're the circus.
Stack the bread. Crap. I like mix the metaphors there. But anyway, what else? Do we have anything else?
I guess.